Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is part 3 of my school experience in the communist Romania. Actually I can share with you 2 experiences since I didn't go to college in Romania during the communist time. I can share you the information I have about it from my brothers and my cousins and my parents and all that, which was the same. And then the college after that, at the beginning of the democracy and independence and freedom of Romania and so on, it was the same thing, but maybe a little bit you can open your mouth during the classrooms, but it was the same system. It was the same rigid, if you want, but with education, with really no how do you call it here, when you get a scholarship. There was no scholarship. The scholarships were based on your educational academic attainments. If you were very good at something, let's say, then they would give you a scholarship, and that meant that you would not pay your dues, or you would get some little money when you go to college. They would cover for this and that. Now, college was paid. I'm talking about communist Romania. College was paid. It was free. Let's put it this way. It was free. In order to free. The educational system was free. The medical system was free. Paid. You didn't pay anything. So you, in order to get from high school to college, you need to have the so-called baccalaureate diploma, which is an examination after you pass the class, the 12th grade. You get this examination in order to have the right to apply to be tested at a university you want to go to. If you don't get that baccalaureate test, you cannot apply to get your, or if you fail it, you cannot go and get your, to be examined at college. So you're done. But you can, I can't remember if you can take it later or not. I don't remember that one. I don't think so, but I think you can. So I'm in between. If you change your mind and say, well, I want to go to college, then you got to go and get examined for the baccalaureate diploma, and then if you pass, you can apply. Now, contrary to the legends here in this country and other Western countries where they were talking about the communist countries, the government would not tell you at birth or any time during your life, you will become an engineer, you will become a laborer, you will become a medical personnel, you will become a pilot. No. Everything was based on whatever you want to do, and if you're good enough meaning that you were a good student in order to get to the college that you wanted to go. And there were how many? Four main colleges in the whole Romania. Romania had a population of about 23 million people. Big colleges, but there were some small colleges, but they're considered out of hell. College, those are universities I'm talking about. Universities were in Bucharest, the capital, then Cluj in Transylvania. Those were the main ones, I would say. Some people say no, it was one in Iași, which was in Moldova, and it was one in Timișoara, that was in the Banat area, in the north west, kind of west, northwest. So these were the 4 main universities. Now you had other colleges in other towns, smaller ones, and that it mattered when you showed, like here in the United States, hey, I graduate from this college, I graduate from this college. Yeah, you know. So in order to get there, you would go and let's say you want to be a doctor, become a doctor. Over there, to become a nurse, you need high school. You go to high school and you do some extra classes, and you're more focused, you can do practice and so on. So a nurse over there, you don't have to go to college. Nurse was high school, you're a nurse. And then if you do certain kind of specialty nurse, you do some courses, I think classes. So within the hospital, I'm guessing. I can't remember, but something like this anyway. So you go to college. After you go to college, now the college, all these, the number of people that could go to college was maybe about 10% of the population that not even 10% of the population that graduated from high school. So let's say you have 1 million in the whole country graduating in the 12th grade, maybe there were now 1 million is not enough, maybe more. Let's say 1 million, you would have, let's say 100,000 people might go to college. That's 10%. That's it. And the rest will not go to college at that time. They can try next year and next year and next year. And there was an examination. So all the, I think that's what it was, all the colleges, let's say you want to be an engineer in these 4 universities I mentioned, they all had the same examinations, if I remember correctly. I'm not certain how it was, because as I said, I didn't go to college in the communist time, and this is, my brother went, but I can remember, let's say the same examination, the same test was in Cluj, in one town, or Bucharest, the same thing. I don't remember. Nevertheless, you go over there and the same. You go, let's say, to Cluj, this town. You want to become an engineer. So, okay, my brother an engineer, my father an engineer, my grandfather an engineer, so it's engineers. And then from my mother's side, it's professor, teacher, professor. That's how it is. So on one side is engineers, on the other side is teachers, professors. So then you have, you go to let's say, become an engineer, you go to this and to this university for engineering, different kind of engineering. Let's say you go for electrotechnical engineer. You go over there and there's a test in mathematics, physics, and I think that's it. And I think maybe I don't remember if they use literature at that point. I don't think so. But I think mathematics and physics. And that's what you're going to be the test. And then you go over there and everyone who got that baccalaureate diploma can apply to be tested. And you go and get tested all in the same day, one day. And the same test for everybody. And then let's say there's 100 positions for the students that get into college. And let's say is 300,000 people that apply for that. So it was fierce to get in certain colleges, very hard to go for certain colleges and certain, kind of engineer or medicine or for lawyers or that. Lawyers was not that. Economists were not, but engineer and it was the hardest. I think it was the medicine that was the hardest. And I think it was also economy. I can't remember, but anyway. And if you can't, the ones that, pass the first, let's say 100, they get in, the rest go into production. But the thing is, after high school in the communist times, and after that, you automatically go to mandatory prison, military, but it was like prison. So if you go to college, you got into college, then you can go 6 months after college. And if you did not go to college, you go from high school, you go into the military for 1 year and 6 months, I think it was. 1 year and 6 months, mandatory. I mean, you can, if you had some medical problems, you would not go, or you would do something lighter, but you would go. And then in college you go over there, and believe me, you had, I went to college here, I went to college over there. I didn't go to college in the communist times. I went to college into free world over there, whatever. The volume of work, the volume of information, the curriculum was like 10 times greater, bigger, deeper than here. You can't compare. Here, this is like high school over there, at least where I went here. And I went to a big university, blah, 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 blah. But let's put it this way, different than over there. And over there, I didn't go to a big university. So over there, the volume was much bigger than this one. I would say that. Now, over there, you couldn't just like here, you don't have electives. Here you have electives. Over there, you don't have electives. You go over there, you just go home, and they tell you what to do. This is the curriculum, and you can't pick this or pick that. Or no. Once you go in this kind of engineering, electrotechnical engineering, it's set what you're gonna learn. That's it. That's it. And not like here, each and every year you have to pick your classes and you have to maneuver and you have the electives. No electives. Nobody got paid. Everything was free. Obviously the university professors got paid and so on, but whatever. And you go over there, you sleep in the dormitories, you get money from your parents, and that was it. Well, the dormitories amount of, it was very cheap. It was not, like here in the United States that kills you. Nah. And you don't pay for anything. And then you don't need books. If they tell you to look at books, you go to the library and you borrow the book and bring it back, or whatever. You have to go to classes. It was mandatory to go to classes in the communist time. After the communist time, it was kind of up to the professor. The professor said, well, you come or you don't. It was up to the professor, but it was mandatory. It was depend on the professor. If the professor said, you don't have to come, you don't have to come. But see you at examinations. And you had examinations at the end of the semester, the end of the year, and if you pass your examinations and do all the homework and all the whatever you need to do the things, you pass the class. And when you pass the class, you go in the second one. Now, if you miss the class, you repeat it. Now, if you're in the first year, like you're here, in the first year, if you could not pass the first year of college, you don't repeat it. You have to go back into the pool and get all those tests like everybody else in order to get. So you compete again. Now, if you're in the second year, right? I can't remember, it escapes right now, sophomore and whatever. But the first, and then you're in the it was college over there was 4 years or 5 years or 6 years. 6 years was medicine as a doctor, and 5 years was the regular college. And I think education was 4, if I remember, education 3 or 4, if you want to be a teacher. So then you go in the second year, and let's say you can pass a second year, then you go in the first, you repeat it without going back at the beginning. If you leave college, you say, I'm done, and you want to go back, you don't start where you ended. It was very hard to do that. You have to go back at the beginning again, get again tested. So let's say I decide in the third year, I say, and I'm going and work for 5 years and say, now I want to go back. I'm not going to start in the third year like United States. You start after 10 years and they get your credentials, say, yeah, you classes, you got all these, points and all these credits, and so that was stupid, I would say, there, compared with here. You didn't have over there extra points, or how it was here. You go and watch a movie and you tell me the name of the main character and you got extra credit. There was not such an idiocracy over there. It happened here to me. You didn't have multiple choice or yes and no tests. That was BS. I've never had such a thing over there in kindergarten, starting from kindergarten to college. Never had it. Here I had it in college. I was like, what is this? It's 50%. And you couldn't, if you had multiple choice, let's say you have 4 choices, they said it's only one that is good. So it couldn't be 2 or 3 that there were good answers. Only one. So you knew, like, oh my God, it was so easy. So it was, and you had here in the States, you had to learn. Let's say you gotta get 2 books. Bibliography was 2 books. Really, over there in the first year of college, I had to have like 7 or 8 books for first year. And as you go higher, you get more and more and more. So here, I never had more than 2 books that I didn't really have to read. They said, well, they would give you here a piece of paper and say, find the name of the dog, find the year of the Tom Jones in the whatever book they gave you to read, and then you just write over there. So you can ask your friend, hey, did you read it? Yeah, I read it. So that's how it was. What I'm saying, it was here, it was much easier than there. Here were more pleasant, because you can pick courses that you really liked versus courses that you didn't like. Over there you had to do everything, and there were courses that you throw up. You had to do it, and if you can't take it, you go in the summer and you get retested, and if you don't pass in the summer, then you repeat the whole year for 1 in class. It was very, very strict, and it was bad, but it taught you to be disciplined, and not everyone could go to college or graduate college. That was how it was. Here, you show up with a pen, you're gonna get your diploma. Basically, they would push you here from back. Well, after you graduate, you have 2 examinations at the end, and if you take those examinations, then based on the grade at the end of the year, they would take you and say, okay, the best, let's say the best one, the valedictorian or whatever, the first one would pick wherever he wants to go in the country. The second one will pick what remained. The third, We all had jobs. It was not like you remain without a job. But the lower your grade at the end of college, general grade, the examinations and so on, you were the last one to pick, and you were sent in the corner of Romania where you didn't want to go. But you go over there, and after about 2, 3, 4 years, you would transfer in your hometown or wherever you wanted to go, basically, if you still wanted to go. So that's how it was. Everyone had a job. Everyone. You could not have like a function without a job. If they would catch you, the police would catch you, they would get you to the section, to the police section, to police department. They will shave you to 0, like bald, and they will give you a note, and they would say you go to the Ministry of Work, or however it was then, and you go over there and you have to come back and prove in about I don't know how many days that they gave you a job. And you go over there, they show a paper from the police, and they will say, yeah, we got five jobs for you, my man. You do this. Which one you want? You gotta pick one, because if you don't pick one, they will notify the police and you go to prison. So that's how it was. Bald-headed too. So that's how it kind of was. It's a lot of things to say. And as I said, everyone had a job. Nobody would tell you where to go, what to do, what to pick, what not to pick. It was up to you. And only the best ones would go to college. Here, I would say if you're below 80, maybe 72, you don't graduate from college. Or maybe you don't want to. If you're not interested, you don't go to college. You say, I make more money without college. Why should I go over there? And that's true. But I'm talking about abilities. And some people, have other things they cannot get support. And here is about money. If you don't have money, really don't go unless you, I'm not going to go into that because I was talking about communist Romania. So the communist Romania was like that. And once you get a job, you will receive a job from the government. As an engineer, you were set. Or as a professor, you were set. You were the intellectual. You were one of the 10% of the population. You had a different kind of respect if you were a Mr. Engineer or Mr. Teacher or Mr. Professor or Mr. whatever you were, educated, intellectual. But the behavior was a little bit different, because with this respect, there were things that were coming that you couldn't be a piece of. Let's put it this way: you had to impose yourself in a way that you have to match the title, and if you did not match the title, then you were very much judged by the society and your fellow intellectuals. Yes, it was a kind of a class. It was an intellectual class, the working class, and they didn't look too good at one another, even though they said that, communism is a classless society. No, it was not a classless society. They make the same kind of money, small difference between, let's say, a teacher or a professor and a laborer. Depends what kind of laborer. A laborer could make more money than a teacher, but they were very close to one another. You wouldn't become a millionaire, and there were not too many things to buy anyway. You got the money, but you couldn't buy things because there were no things to buy. Shortage, like these guys want to have here, only one pair of shoes, and that's good. Or maybe 2 parties, because that's the greatest thing, to have only 2 parties. That's democracy. It's like I lived through that kind of democracy in the communist system, when you go to the store and you have only 1 pair or maybe 2 kinds of pair of shoes. Bad, both of them. No, that's great. But somehow in politics here in the United States, it's fantastic if you have 2 parties. It's so funny. Not. So this was with college. I can, and then you can go have a master degree, which was very, very hard. And if you had a master degree, it was like you were and if you have go for a PhD, you're an academician. You were like, oh my God, I got a PhD. Jesus Christ, wow. It was like that. But here, PhDs, and after the revolution, 1989, you can buy master degrees, you can buy PhDs, and you come to the United States and you show them, and they say, yeah, Mr. PhD. And you bought your PhD with $6,000 or $2,000. Do I know that? Yeah, I know that. So, yeah, thank you very much for being with me again today. I have much more, and maybe I could go deeper in this on little subjects Well, as I said, I posted number 1, number 2, and now is number 3 on this education system in the communist Romania that I went through, except the college where I just told you how it was based on my family's experience, because I was too young when the things changed. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.